Hi, I'm Renee.
And I'm Debbie, and together
We are the Roundtable Recap.
Hey, welcome back. We are on the Celebrity Traitors, Season 1, Episode 8, and this takes place at the dinner party where, they normally have one every series or season where they just kind of go over the what's happened or why they're playing or, just to sit down and chat with one another.
Yeah, it's kind of a little bit of a break from the game and a little time to reflect on why they're there and, get to know them a little bit better.
Yeah. And of course, this is also where Alan has to do his task and
Mm.
cheers somebody with the saying to eliminate them in plain sight, which at this point we don't see, but you can see he's like nervous. He's working up, towards it. And then
Yeah.
it just kind of rolls into breakfast where it's Alan and Kat discussing. He's too worried that it was obvious. And she's like, no, I think you did a good job doing it.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it was the editing or what, but to me it did seem a little clumsy, but it may have just been the editing because everybody else, when they were reflecting and just kind of sharing things, it just kind of rolled off their tongues. But with Alan, it might have, like I said, it might have been the editing, but it seemed like he had it just didn't flow as nice.
Yeah, I
And,
don't think so either. But then again, I always think he's kind of obvious in like what he does as a traitor, but nobody picks up on these things. But
yeah.
uh yeah, and this is also where Joe I don't know if he says it out loud or in his confessional. Oh no, I think he says it out loud to Alan where he thinks that Alan is a traitor and he just uses humor to deflect the
Right,
situation, which is
right,
100%, right on target.
right.
And even Kat, she says here like that she thinks that the reason why the traders have gotten so far is because everyone overthinks everything. And
Yeah.
this is 100% correct as well because like David, so they're trying, Claudia comes in and obviously I'm kind of skipping ahead a little bit, but they realize that it's what's her name?
Celia.
Celia, yes. So they realize, that she's the one who was eliminated, and Claudia says, it was in plain sight. So they come up with, all these theories, and everyone's focused on the dinner party. But David's like, well, it doesn't have to be at the dinner party. So it's like almost he takes him out. I mean, it would
Right,
have been a really good trader move, to be honest, because he
right.
like it's like, no, it's not the dinner party. Like, let's look through everything.
Yeah,
And so, yeah, I think that is their biggest downfall is that they, for things that are so simple to look at, like they just overthink things and then it confuses them. So they can't
yeah,
really narrow down anything.
yeah, definitely. But at the same time, I think, that is a downfall for the faithfuls. But at the same time, I think these group of traders work so well together. And even like you said at the breakfast where Kat is trying to reassure Alan. I mean, they just maintain that really good supportive relationship. So I think that really helped them through the whole game.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the traders did a really good job, obviously working together throughout the whole season. It's just,
Right.
I feel like, yeah, the faithfuls, had they not overthink everything that they would have been able to narrow it down a little bit better with the
You were
situation.
right.
Like example, Alan, like they just, I don't know, they just are like, oh no, he's not a traitor when like he has so many tells out of all three of them. Like he was, but um, but yeah, of course, everyone was sad that she was the one who was
Yeah.
eliminated because everyone loved
Yeah.
her. And then yeah, and then they do show obviously how he did do it, and it was a little clumsy. I felt like I said, I felt like he was a little nervous in trying to do it, but I don't think it was so obvious really, because I mean, everyone was kind of you know, cheering
Yeah.
or toasting everybody. Everyone was, giving toast, and then I was kind of worried because she had even made a comment like, "Oh, are you trying to kiss me?" Like, and I thought like that part
Right. Oh,
kind of would
yeah.
have stuck out in people's
Yeah.
head a little more. I mean, he played it off good, like he, did his joking thing, but
Right.
to me, I would have, I don't know, that would have stuck out just a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it was as smooth as some of his other, throughout the game. I think the one thing that I really liked about him was that he is so smooth. And then at this dinner party, I just didn't think it was one of his best moments. But yeah, the faithfuls didn't pick up on it. So, so he was successful in that respect.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, like, as he mentioned, that it was because he had to do it in front of everyone, where Paloma,
Yes.
it was just him and her behind closed doors. So I think, yeah, he was in his head about it, and that's why it didn't come off
Yeah.
smooth
Yeah.
as other
Yeah.
things.
I think actually Ruth was in the room when he did Paloma and maybe Lucy, but it
Yeah,
was there was a small group, not in front of. Yeah, it is a bit
everyone.
different when you're down to where are they down to 6, and you have to do it in front of everybody.
Yeah, yeah. And then that's all I had as far as breakfast. And
Yeah.
then moving after breakfast, I mean, they're just really discussing, obviously, who it could have been, when this could have occurred. And, Nick and David, this is where they also even discuss Joe as possibly being, potentially being a traitor at this point.
Hmm. Yeah, I think there. Yeah, a lot. I mean, they're down to the end, and a lot of theories are. It's basically you can trust yourself, but who else can you trust?
Yeah. And then there's poor Kate with, because
Oh,
she's gonna
right.
have
Yeah.
theories, so she comes up with maybe it's the sun-dried tomatoes, and Alan's like, I don't think
Yeah.
it's the sun-dried tomatoes, but
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. And then they go on to the mission, and there's two cars, so they're split into groups of three. So you have Kate, Nick, and David in one, and then Alan, Kat, and Joe in the other one. And I thought it was kind of ironic. I'm wondering how they split up these cars, because at this point, we know Joe is on to Kat and Alan, and he's the one who was in the car with them.
Mhm.
But I mean, obviously, we know, like, he tries to play that he trusts them and whatnot. So I don't know if they got to choose who they got to ride with. The Kate, Nick, and David car. David, again, he has these theories, which are good,
Mhm.
but he thinks at this point that the traders aren't working, or he throws it out as an idea that they aren't working together, which is
Right.
not at all the case,
Right.
especially throughout this season. And then in the other car, Alan is trying to push David or Kate to get the numbers for Joe.
Right. Yeah.
So at the missions, this one looked like a fun one. They had to get the heads across the lasers, and
Yeah.
um,
I
I
always
think,
like I like the ones with the lasers, and there was, I don't know if it was what traders it was. I think it was UK and US where they had to go in and steal things from the castle,
mm,
and they had to. Yeah. So I always like these with the laser.
yeah, and I mean, there's a lot of them that had to go back to start, but I mean, I don't, for them,
Actually, not too many times. I mean, compared to usually they let one go at a time, but this time it was like,
everyone goes, just, yeah,
yeah, everybody just went for it.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Well, really, there was only three that had to go back, or how many had to go back?
I know Alan, Kat, and David. So yeah, yeah, oh, yeah. I guess it was just half,
Yeah, yeah, it really
because
wasn't
Nick
that
and
many.
Kate didn't set him off, and then poor Joe, he was left because he was the one holding down the one
The
button to
button,
let everyone go.
right?
Um, and then he was. I felt so bad though, because at the end, of course, they're very short on time, and they're like all yelling at him at the same
I
time.
know.
They're like, don't move. And he's like stuck in this like overbent.
I know. But and even Claudia was yelling too.
Yeah, Claudia was. I was like, oh my gosh. Yeah. I felt bad for him, because Yeah, he was stressed, and then he's like, I don't know, and of course, he's a big guy, and so
Yeah.
they're tight spaces he had to get through.
I never realized how small Nick was. I mean, he's smaller than Kat.
Yeah. Speaking of cat, aw. Yeah. Um, but I mean,
That yeah, but he got through it. He got through it the first time without. I mean, Nick made it look so easy, and then he was the one. Well, him and David wasn't it him and who discovered the buttons? Um,
oh yeah, I don't know if it was Nick or David who, or
and
not David.
anyway, but then Nick and Kat were the ones that were pressing the buttons at the end. At the very end for everybody. So that worked out really well for them.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, I think throughout the whole season, they all worked really good as a team, and I think
Yeah.
for the most part, they banked a lot of the money that they possibly could. I mean, they lost out
Right.
on a little bit, but for the most part, yeah, they got everything that they possibly could.
Mhm.
And that's really all I had for the mission.
Yeah, and I think Alan was the only one that chose his own.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, that's right, because he was talking to his head. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's right.
he's
Yeah,
like, I got you, I got you.
yeah,
He
yeah.
said, of
Because
course I
David,
had to pick.
do what?
He said, of course I have to pick my own. I'm a narcissist.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because
Um,
what David picked Jonathan, and that's when he had to go back, and Joe's like, whose head was that? And he's like, Jonathan's. He's like, oh yeah, who cares, or something like throw him
right,
in the bin, or I don't know, something to the extent, because he's a traitor.
right,
But,
right.
but yeah, they all did good.
Yeah,
And then after I mean, it's really just at this point, they're just trying to do the numbers game, because they know they just need one. I mean, they need four out of the six people to vote for someone. So it's like Alan and Kat versus, well, I mean, really the other three are working together, but they feel like Joe's on their side.
yeah. I think it's at this point, though. I mean, Kate is really by herself. Everybody else, pretty much have an alliance. So Kate is the only one that's really on her own.
Yeah, yeah, that is true. She's the floating one right now. Yeah, because was it Joe, David, Nick, and Kat? They all discuss Kate as a
Hmm.
possible traitor. And then Nick, he's also starting though to suspect Kat. And because Nick takes the approach of who would work best with Jonathan. So this is what starts him thinking about Kat being a potential traitor, when I don't think he
Right.
really was looking at her before
Right. I think,
those
I
episodes.
think, in hindsight, I think the traders, it would have been smart for them to keep Kate around at this point. Um, because if Kate goes, and she's a faithful, um, the only other female is Kat. And in all the traders that I can remember, it's never been like all guys or all female.
Yeah.
It's always been a mix. So I think for the traders, I think they should have made an alliance with Kate.
Yeah,
Um,
that's a good point. And
yeah,
on top of that, Kate, she didn't have really any good theories, so I feel like she would have been easily persuaded, so they could have used her as a guaranteed vote, whichever way they could, get her to vote for.
right.
So yeah, yeah, they really should have reeled her in, and they could have used her to, their advantage.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That was the only. I've watched this once before, but watching it the second time, I was like, yeah, they they should have kept because it was too obvious because without Kate, the only other female, and you got to figure at least one traitor was a female.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
That was a good point. Actually, it's a
yeah,
good point that nobody even mentioned, really
yeah.
brought up that. Hmm, yeah. So then moving to the round table, you have Kat, who brings, Kate in the hot seat because Kate's asking a lot of questions, but not really throwing any helpful information out of her own.
Right.
And Joe even chimes in here and mentions, her being like a ditzy player or acting like a ditzy player, um, which is why, you know, everyone's kind of like looking at Kate right now. And I mean, everyone just kind of throws in their own theories. So this is where
Yeah.
Nick also brings up Kat because, again, thinking that she's working with Jonathan and and then I know David's in the hot seat at one point. So I mean, they're just kind of throwing all of their theories around.
Yeah. Yeah. And then that whole disagreement between Kate and David, that didn't help. That didn't help her either.
Yeah.
She should have just dropped it instead of like keep arguing and arguing. And, that really just keeps everybody's focus on those two players. And I think it would have been smart if she had just, whatever he said, and then she said her piece, and that would have been, and then moved on to something, a different person.
Yeah, because the votes came down to mostly, I mean, it was David versus Kate, and it would have been a tie, but Nick was so gun-ho on Kat that his vote was essentially a throwaway, which led Kate
Right.
being the one voted out, because she got the 3 votes.
Right.
But,
Yeah.
but yeah, that was, and I don't, I can't remember. Does she tell, is she the last one that says whether or not she's a
Yeah.
faithful? She
Yeah.
does. Okay.
Yeah.
So then, after the round table, though, this is really where Joe, I think his theory solidifies that it's Alan and Kat, that they're the
Mhm.
traitors. And so
Right.
Joe, tells this to David, he tells this to Nick,
Hmm.
and then, oh, okay, yeah, yeah, you're right, because then this is where they all go outside, and Claudia says that, um, you know, that she confirms that this is the last time that they will say it. And then so with her saying this, she wants everyone to go around and say, "I am a faithful." And of course, Alan, he laughs right. I mean,
But
he,
you could tell because he looked at Claudia and he was already starting.
yeah, he was already
Yeah,
starting to break. Yeah,
I had flashbacks to at the beginning of the game when she had asked him
the
if
interview.
I had flashbacks to that, and because he looked at her, he said, "I want to be a traitor," and then he
Yeah,
started laughing.
and she's like, "Oh, Alan."
And it reminded me, it was the same thing because he looked. I think if he had looked at somebody else, he would have been okay. But I think with him looking at Claudia,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, and I mean, everybody laughs, and I mean, they
yeah. And he's like,
again, they still don't believe that he's a traitor, other than Joe. Joe's like, "This is confirmation for me," but
right, right. But everybody else, because he plays it off as I'm just so nervous. I'm nervous.
yeah,
He says, "I really am a faithful."
yeah, yeah,
Uh,
and
but if you watch any of the post trader videos, he even says at that point, he looked at Kat and it just kind of was like with his eyes saying, "I'm sorry," like I know I'm gone.
yeah, yeah. He really thought he was like, "There's no way that they're gonna keep me in,"
Right.
because yeah, yeah. I mean, it was the biggest. Like, here I am, I'm a traitor. Like, it's the biggest red
Yeah.
flag ever.
Yeah, everybody else was serious and
Yeah, everyone was. No.
but
Um,
yeah.
so that's
But then
really, oh, go ahead.
well, at the turret, I again like the way the traders work together because Alan's like, that's it, that's the end, and Kat's, just tries to make him feel, she saying it wasn't that bad and tries to reassure him. So I thought that was good because the way that they support each other helps them to get over those, like they think a mistake is like so big, there's no way that anybody's going to believe they're a faithful, and then they have the support from the other traders saying, no, it's you're good, you're good.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it helps rein them in before they can make even more mistakes because,
right,
yeah,
yeah,
they can get
because
in their head too much.
instead of them going back into the game and thinking, my game's over. What does it matter?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, for
yeah.
sure.
I think that really helped. I like this season of
Yeah.
Traitors. So yeah.
Yeah. So that wraps up this episode.
Oh,
Oh,
well,
do you have
and
something
they
else?
agreed. Yeah, and they agreed to finish together.
Oh, yeah. They made a pact to, yeah, not turn on one another. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was so nice.
Yeah. Which I mean, I like from the beginning, I always thought those two had a stronger alliance than with Jonathan, which I mentioned in, an
Yeah,
earlier episode. So it was just nice to see that they weren't going to throw each other under the bus if they could possibly at all help it.
right.
So that concludes this episode. Stay tuned for next week, the final episode of the Traders or Celebrity Traders. See you guys
Yay!
there.